Hey there. You in? Yeah, good. Don, right? Hey Don, John Kiker. Hey Don.
Hi, John.
Hey, some people are having trouble getting in, so I'm just writing a quick note.
I had to go to a June 29th email
Yeah, okay. I'll tell everyone
from
that.
Jerry.
Okay, yeah, she sent out a lot, so let me just tell everyone that. There it is. You're the only one that's figured it out so far, so I'm going to send this. It may be a little bit of time before we get everyone together again. Okay. Sorry about that, Don. Hopefully they'll start showing up soon. We have people coming in. Hey guys. Sorry, some people are having trouble logging in, so I sent the link again. Apologies. Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
I can hear you, John.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Hello, iPhone 11. There you are.
Sorry about all that.
That's okay.
Hi, Mary Jo.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How's everybody else here?
Good
Yeah, everybody healthy?
Yep,
and wise.
good seeing you, Steph.
You too, Don. Thanks.
Now you have to scoot in.
Been too long.
There.
Hey, Janet. Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
And Mary, of course.
Okay, I have to take this off. It's just.
I think I have the same mask, Mary. We have the same taste.
You know, that's becoming the new status, you know?
Is it? Hey,
I'm
Tim.
waiting to get some in for my dad for his birthday. I got him New York Yankee ones.
Welcome, Russell.
Ah.
I turn the volume up. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, well, I think we have probably enough to get started. So as you probably have figured out, I'm not Jerry Baker. But I will try to do a reasonably good job in running this meeting. But first, I need to take roll call. And again, I keep saying all the negatives about me. I don't know Robert's rules as closely as Jerry does, but here we go. So Skip BB. Yes, oh, he's not here. Russell's here, John's here, Mary's here, Stephanie's here, Don's here, Ken's here, Tim's here, and Janet is here, right?
Yes, here I am.
Okay. And Dan
Mary Jo.
And Mary Jo and Dan Hagan.
About Skip, is he here?
Not yet.
Okay, and I don't see him coming in yet. No, I'll keep looking for him. All right, well, first order of business is to see if there's any guests, and there is not. Is everyone okay with the minutes of the May 2020 meeting? Just need a vote of hands of aye or hands?
Yep.
I abstained because I wasn't there.
Dan, what'd you say, Dan?
I'll abstain because I wasn't at that meeting.
And somebody else said that same thing.
I did. Jeff's
Okay,
business.
perfect. Got that. All right. I don't think there's any old business. Is there any old business to go over? Nope. Okay. Then we're going to go to new business. First, I want to just reach out to Stephanie and see if there's anything she wants to report for us.
Sure, I'll kind of just give you an idea of where we are right now with the center and what we're doing to try to keep our members engaged. In June, we were able to start a gathering of programs with all the senior centers, and I shouldn't say all the senior centers in the state, but at least about 60 of them. And we all kind of put some programs in together since it's all virtual. So we had over 64 programs that we were able to offer our members, you know, because of it, free programming. Everything from what to do for your lungs during this COVID-19 kind of thing to, you know, entertainment. So, and then we also, of course, have the 20 to 23 exercise classes that we're doing every week. And we're still getting over 200 people participating in that weekly. I'm not able to get as much of an idea of who's participating in the 64 programs because there are different senior centers across the state that are, you know, sending them the links. We are sending out weekly through Curbside and Meals on Wheels, 260 to 270 meals. Currently, we just sent out a batch of handwritten wellness check cards to over 65 members that live alone and that don't have internet, just to kind of check on them and let them know we were thinking about them. Yeah, well, you know, it's real important, especially for them because they just don't have that connection. We are continuing to make the phone calls weekly. There's about 200 members that are at risk that are getting calls weekly, and we're helping them with different things. One woman had trouble getting groceries, and another one had trouble with the internet, so we were able to help them. Just a couple ideas. We are still sending out the newsletter monthly. We're trying to put in kind of like humor and puzzles and stuff for them to do, since we don't have actual programs to, for them to participate in if they aren't virtual. Behind the scenes, I'm still meeting bi-weekly with the 80 plus senior centers across the state. We've also been meeting with the Massachusetts Council on Aging, the Connecticut Council on Aging, the Connecticut Commissioner on Aging, talking about timelines, about the reopening. The biggest thing I learned this past week, which I thought was important that we took from the Massachusetts Council on Aging, is that in Massachusetts, they're not calling it a reopening plan. They are calling it a upscaling of programs, because once you say reopening, people think, oh, okay, we can all just go in and have coffee and be, there for no specific reasons. Obviously, when it gets to the point where we can have things go on, it's going to start very slowly. It might be, they were saying, when we were talking to the commissioner on aging in Connecticut, she was saying, you might have 1 or 2 programs a day, and it might be like 6 people in a program. It really depends on the space. For exercise, I'm not even sure how we're going to be able to accomplish that. So right now we're at a standstill till at least September, probably longer, because as long as the governor is saying seniors 65 and over shouldn't be out, we can't open. I mean, we still do things, but we can't open our doors, so to speak. So that's been kind of, but you need 154 square feet for each person exercising. So if you think of how big our center is, that might fit 3 people on our dance floor,
Right.
So the idea is, if it's depending when seniors are being told they can go out, we could possibly do some outside. I mean, we would have a perfect area, like we could do every other parking space, for instance. But right now, with seniors not being told to stay in, we really can't, follow through with any of that until. So I just don't know when that's going to be, and depending when it is whether or not we'll be able to have programs outside. And then, but I am right now in the process of planning a bunch of lectures and programs and history lectures and current events and art classes virtually over for the fall time, so that there'll be more to engage people,
Great. Hey, any, concerns or issues that we need to be aware of that sort of are bugging you at night?
No, I'm still brainstorming, and I'll take information from anywhere. I'm really trying to think of the best ways we can continue to reach out to the seniors that are at home. I'm still working with the senior resources, trying to figure out if we can get some of the technology grant that's right now to help us be able to give technology to people to use for a month, with a hotspot, so we can, but I'm not sure that's going to be a quick thing. It seems like there's going to be a process. So really the thing that keeps me up at night is, how can we continue to engage the seniors the most? Obviously, we're still doing puzzle drops and book drops, but, how can we engage them more, So, I've got a couple of things floating around in my head, what I want to do over the summer, but, possibly do visits, obviously the visits that you're away, at their door, that kind of thing. Maybe bring them oversized crossword books, or, that kind of thing. Something to, I just haven't quite figured out what, but if I'm open for ideas. So if anybody, that's pretty much the only thing that's keeping me up. Those that have computers really have had an okay time with it, because they've been able to connect with friends and family and, us and,
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for your efforts and all that.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Yeah.
tough. Any questions for Stephanie? Okay. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Hey, we're going to go on to the next order of business, which was Jerry had sent out the results of her survey. She talked to the 12 board members and friends to sort of get us started on what we needed as far as the new building or additions to the building or renovations. They were informal. There was, I don't want to go through all this, but just in generality, there was a general concern the center needs to be able to accommodate a growing population of adults 55 and over. There was concern that the center needs more information on this growing population. I know we have some data on that, but there was a concern. Some of this is under the potential concerns. Some of this is strategic. Some of this is tactical, but bigger rooms for exercising programs. We've heard about that. More room for the library offerings, addition of a gym fitness area, which is more strategic. Separation of the cafeteria from the activity area, again, sort of bigger picture. Sort of tactical issues, smaller issues, more storage space for members, bathrooms and offices sort of need a renovation expansion, lighting needs, porch needs, HVAC system, and then a smell in the drinking water. So my takeaway from the survey, and again, some of this is sort of, there's a lot of data there, and some of this we've already sort of been through, but we also, as we go through this sort of process, we need to be able to support our recommendations to in our decisions and our budgets to the Board of Finances of both towns. So we need as much data as possible in my mind. And then some of this we also need to make sure that we have the research that sort of documents how many adults the center may realistically need in the future. And we also, and this is something that, I really can't get my hands around right now, and I'm sure a lot of us can, is what will the ultimate impact of the pandemic be on what this facility looks like going forward? And that's where we really are going to need the help from the consultants. And I guess, looking at a note that Jerry sent me, it looks like we probably do need more research on this, and we probably need to discuss how to do more research before we go down the path of getting an RFP together. Any thoughts on that? Questions or observations or recommendations?
John,
Dan.
you mentioned the age group 55 and older.
Yeah.
What is that the current age group that's eligible for membership, or what are the requirements now?
Yeah, it's 55 and over,
Oh,
Dan.
yeah.
I can answer
Okay,
that. for you.
and that was changed. The original charter was what?
65
65 and over?
Yeah.
And then it changed,
to
and
55.
that changed as a result of the board of directors or the both?
Yes, and
boards of-
also to keep up with the other senior centers in the area.
No, but was the
Yeah,
town?
but yeah, it was a decision from the board of directors.
Were the boards of selectmen involved in that decision?
They were. They both signed off on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
This is Russell. One thought is, I think this is amazing information. This is really good. And this is, there wasn't anything surprising here. I kind of figured this would. I think that we should, within reason, maybe get some input from some. I mean, this was a fairly biased group, as you would
Right.
expect.
Yeah.
The friends, but I think that was and then they had 12 friends, so that was good. But it would be good to get ask some of these questions from people who may be seniors but don't come to the facility for whatever reason, just to see why, if it's because of what the facility offers or they just don't see a need for it for themselves. And then probably some individuals who are closing in on 55 but are not there, but maybe in the next, so 45 to 55-year-olds that might be using this in the next 10 years, and say, what would you envision this to be?
Okay.
Again, it should be a sampling. It shouldn't be a big group. When the architect comes on, and the workshops happen, that we can maybe have a more of a public forum. But
Right.
it might be good just to ask that out to a slightly bigger group.
Okay.
Can I ask one question, John, while we're
Yep.
on this? Russell, I was thinking about that, and I don't know if anybody in the group knows. Is that something we could put together to be at the polling place, like when people vote, like that they could take it and fill it out, or is there rules against something like that?
I don't know I don't know the answer to that, but I can certainly ask.
Because I think that would get a big. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Tim's about to answer
I
that.
think what you could do would be to have a table 75 feet away from the pole, that's a requirement. And you might be able to distribute something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, people are probably not going to want to stand there and fill out a long.
Oh, no, I figured they wouldn't. They could always return it whenever, but
Yeah.
I figured that might be the biggest group of, you know what I mean? If we had one in Lyme and one in Old Lyme.
Right, and that'd be
Right.
August 11th is that date, so.
I think the population you want to get, you're not going to get though, because a lot of people are going to be
You know
voting
what?
by
I always
mail.
forget that, Dan. It's like I remember and then I forget. Yeah,
A lot of people
Yeah.
are going to be voting by mail, and
that's true.
only people registered with the Democrats or registered with the Republicans will vote on that day. No independents.
What about if we put something on the town websites?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of things. I think we can do what Tim suggested as far as the survey and get what we can. And then we can put things on the website, we can put things on our Facebook pages and potentially do a link that they can fill out a survey or something like that.
Right.
I think that would be
Right.
helpful.
And we could simplify it. I mean, some of these questions were targeted for people who know it really well,
Right.
obviously. And so maybe a few of these questions could be removed or simplified, you know, and keep it down to something that one page of 3 or 4 questions that just, you know, get some feedback. But I think that would be helpful.
Yeah,
And,
just a simple survey monkey tool would be easy.
yeah, right, exactly. But I think that's good. This is a great start, but I think that would help the RFP and the consultants coming on board to see
Okay.
what we had already generated.
Okay.
John,
Yeah.
I go along with, you know, everybody else, but one of the drinking water smells, that ought to be addressed now, not 2 years from now.
Right, and there's a few of those that fit into that category. Blocked exits.
Yeah, don't let the fire marshal catch you with the blocked exits.
Yeah, I mean, what I can probably do is go through Jerry's note with Jerry and pick out all the sort of tactical stuff that can be addressed now and take that out.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's important. We ought to have proper drinking water at a facility where right now there's not many people using it, but most of the time there's a lot of people using it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the drinking water is actually, I'll say fine in quotation marks. I've been trying to get people to take care of the smell for a while and it's been put on the back burner, but in general, it's perfectly safe to drink the water. It just stinks when you do the warm because of the sulfur from the well. But as far as we get it tested quarterly, and we actually have a UV filter that is now in our well. So as far as the ability, we do also have a bottled water just because it's more pleasant for people, but just so you know that we didn't let that go. Like
Okay.
we don't have like a health hazard there, you know?
No, I was sure you didn't, but I just thought that's a concern,
Yeah.
you know, that we don't have smelly water, that this project.
Yeah, I
is
used to
just the
be
way it's
told there was
prepared.
nothing they could do, but I've recently found out that there was, so I've asked Phil, but he's been really busy doing other things, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
Okay.
you know, I'm Phil and myself and the building official will be going through the building relatively soon, so we can address that at that point if you'd like.
I'd
Okay.
love it. Thanks,
Yeah.
Skip.
Yeah, and I'll try to look at Jerry's notes, Skip, and see if there's anything else that should be looked at quickly.
Yeah, I think it's important. That just strikes me right away.
And I don't know if this is the time in the agenda to bring it up, but one of the things that we've been doing as a firm, and I'm sure Ken's been doing this with it, you know, we've been doing a lot of research. There have been a lot of game changers out there. And of course, there's a lot of things that are changing on an hourly basis in terms of best practices. But one of the things that we've been working with our engineers on is mechanical systems. And there's a lot of common practices that are now, a lot of things that we've been doing over the years for efficiency, in some cases are counter to keeping viruses out of this airspace and such. So there might be some things that we want to implement. I know the system, Jerry said the system at the senior center is not that old, which is actually probably a good thing because we can probably consider putting some things and such things such as UV systems into the air handlers to keep to kill the viruses. I think that's going to be a big thing that a lot of our clients have not put them in over the years because they add cost, but I think we're going to see a lot of insistence, especially, I mean, hospitals use them, but I think we're going to see that trickle down to high-risk areas, especially nursing homes, if they don't already have them. And I think a senior center is going to be, and schools are going to be close to the next level of that. And we're going to see that at workplaces too.
Right.
And the other thing obviously greater air changes per hour. So that's an important thing. And the other thing we've been learning is humidification in the winter. Obviously with air conditioning, we dehumidify the air, which we're doing probably everywhere right now, but actually 40 to 60% viruses can live in very dry air too. And so what our engineers are finding is that in the winter, many spaces should be humidified so that we keep the optimum is 40 to 60%, and viruses can live on either side of that. So there's just some things that it's low hanging fruit. Obviously there's a cost to do those things, but we might start looking into them and have the town facilities people look into them and just see, especially if the system is new enough, some of these things might be able to be plugged in.
Okay.
And so that's just something to throw into that mix, and probably should not wait necessarily for 2 years or 3 years down the road.
And just another thought as we get back to the prior point, which is another sort of survey of a larger group. And I'm not sure the answer to this, and maybe it's too soon, but should we be asking questions about concerns around the pandemic and getting people back in the door? I guess I'll put that to Russell and Ken.
Yeah, I would. We've been talking to a lot of our clients and getting feedback like that. So I would think that the number one thing is going to be the comfort level of the seniors going back to the center. What are we doing to make that a safe place? Beyond masks and beyond, I mean, I think the one thing we're thinking is the masks and the hand sanitizer and the distancing is a Band-Aid approach, and will start to fade away, hopefully, as things, maybe vaccines are in place. But what we're going to see is people taking this more seriously. If it's not COVID-19, it's going to be the next thing. And so it's going to be a sensitive issue. And I think I know Ken will agree, we're going to see this in design of buildings going down the road. So I think that's a good question. What are because fear factor is even greater than reality. We all know that.
Right.
And that's going to continue to be a thing even long after things feel better.
Right.
So it's a good question to ask.
Russell, should we expect to see a rash of new building codes coming out in response to the COVID crisis?
I'm sure we will, but it'll be 6 or 7 years before that happens. But yes, I mean, there'll be something. Everything leads to code changes. But it's going to be responsibility of the design profession and the construction industry to take the lead on some of that now and not wait.
And to carry that a step further, the taxpayers of Lyme and Old Lyme to pay for all that higher cost design.
Yeah, well, it will trickle down, and it's not just the senior center.
Oh no,
it's going to be every public building and many private buildings as well. So, but the technology is there. It's been used for a long time. Ironically, you'll find this funny. My brother's an engineer, and he does a lot of animal care facilities. And this is stuff that's been used at animal care facilities for the last 20 years, because they don't want to have dogs or pets or in Pfizer's the mice getting sick. So this stuff is there, but nobody ever wants to put it into the public buildings.
And before this, there hasn't been really a good justification for that.
Right.
Well, we've had instances of Legionnaire's disease and things like that, and they tend to, we hear about those things, and obviously cruise ships, it's a big issue. But this is the first time in in a long time that it's in modern buildings there where we're suddenly seeing this.
Yeah.
And so we're going to, there's going to be a reaction.
Yeah.
And people are going to want to know that the buildings they're going into have this stuff in place.
Or a lot of people who are working hard now to find vaccines that are effective are going to eliminate the need for all this high-tech HVAC stuff.
Well, yes and no, but as I've been talking to heads of schools and such, their concern is, yeah, we get a vaccine for this, but what's the next thing? And even if we're more sensitive to it, there's still always going to be a period of time where the vaccine doesn't exist for something. And we may not see this for 30 or 40 years, or we may see it in 2 years. And
Or
so
100 years.
right. So there,
Spanish. Yeah.
so there's a worry about just making sure they don't want to have to shut things down. They want to be able to have a plan in place. So it just adds one more layer to everything we do.
Right, right.
So.
Hey, Ken, did you have anything to add?
No, I agree with Russell, and we're definitely looking at, mechanical systems in different buildings and stuff and what they're doing and how they're circulating air and taking it. And so, yeah, a lot of these owners are evaluating that. And, especially with the senior centers or, anything like that, that's a major concern. And I guess before we even start the renovation, how long this is going to go on, when the seniors are ever going to get back and how we're going to handle that. Like Russell says, do we be proactive? Do we start making some HVAC changes that are that we can do easy or lower cost too, especially if the system's newer. And I guess we could evaluate that. I think that would be the first goal of this committee, because yes, we all agree that needs to be something done with this, but what are we going to do short term? Especially if this, to get the seniors back in, because we can't separate. We're gonna have to reduce down the count, and it's gonna be a tough situation.
Right.
Has the ductwork over the period of time in this building been cleaned? I mean, that may be a simple step to take right away.
Yeah, it's always they do it quarterly.
Okay.
So that's like where they do the vents and everything. Yeah,
I'm
they come.
talking about the trunks themselves, though. The pipe.
I don't know, but we had it put in less than a year ago, so I've got to think that they would have done that. I could check with Phil; he would know more. The facility manager.
I can talk to him when we talk, but
Okay.
just a thought.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Oh, great. That's a good discussion on the survey. I will talk to Jerry about how we put together a survey that could get some more input from a broader group of people. So thank you. Any more comments on that? All right, good. So the next thing we have on the agenda is the update for the preliminary facilities audit. And the note from Jerry said she spoke with Phil, and right before the town reopened, he has materials for the audit, but was getting busy with the town to reopen. He knows to contact Skip. So Skip, any developments on that?
Nothing at all. I've heard nothing. I figured by the end of this week, if I don't hear from Phil, I'll give him a call.
All right.
I
Anything?
really would like to get that, in some sort of progress forward.
Okay. Anything you can help us with that on, Tim?
Well, I think those three gentlemen need to get together and schedule a time to go up there and have a look-see. And I don't know if their building official from Lyme wants to join, but
Yep, we'll make sure.
It's good and quiet up in the senior center now, so it's a good time to look around.
Good. Okay. All right. Go ahead,
Skip?
Stephanie.
I just wanted to say one quick thing. Skip, when you're planning it, if you could avoid Tuesdays, that would be very helpful because we have the majority of our meals going out on Tuesday.
Perfect. We'll do that.
All right, thanks.
We'll come for lunch.
They're already pre-packed. It's a grab and go.
Hey, Skip, just let me know.
Take care of that.
Hey, Skip, just let me know what dates you coordinate with so I can make sure our Lyme officials are involved.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Hey, any other new business? Anything else to bring up? All right, there is no public comment, so we are close to the end of the meeting. Anything else? It feels like this is a really short meeting. Yes.
It might be wise to review the capital budget for the senior center that the two towns have worked out, just to be sure that everybody's aware of what's coming down the pike. We did install the generator, and that is, I'm not sure if it's totally functional, but I think it's wired in place, and the tanks in the ground, all that.
Yeah,
So-
it's functioning. They did a test yesterday, Tim.
Okay.
So,
And there also is some additional work to be done in various mechanicals. So the committee would be wise to understand all the things that are in the capital plan for this coming year and maybe even a year or two beyond, just to make sure as we plan things, we don't want to do things that might get undone by a renovation, such as
Sure.
a roof or some kind of mechanicals up in the ceiling and so forth. But the committee would be well served to understand all the things that are on the table. And if there's something that people see that I better not do that, that
Right.
would be good. And maybe the gentlemen who go have a look-see can make a report back on where we are, where we're going, and what might be a problem.
Yeah, I think that's a
Phil
good,
knows a lot of this stuff too.
yeah, well, that's a good point. I'll talk to Jerry about how we put that on the agenda for the next meeting and make sure that we all got everyone on the same page about what's coming up and what might not need to be done going forward.
Yeah.
Great. Any other comments on that? All right.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
before we dismiss everybody, I wanted to thank Jerry for putting together that questionnaire.
Yeah, it was very good, wasn't
I
it?
thought you did a great job.
She did. She knows her stuff more than I do, as you can probably tell. But hey, so that is it for the meeting, unless there's anything else. To have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
A second? Great, thanks, Ken. All right, thanks, guys. I'm sure Jerry will be back for the next meeting.
yeah.
Thanks, John, for taking his.
John's going to make sure of it.
Yes. All right, thanks, everybody. You
Thanks,
look great.
everyone.
Thank you, John, for running it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.